Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for taking just a minute to learn more about how you can get introduced to your ideal clients without solely depending upon your sphere. I promise you that if you listen to this presentation, it has the ability to transform the way that you get your business in a way that you've always wanted. Now, when I talk about depending upon your sphere, here's what I want you to think about is people like you and I, we're highly skilled, we're good at what we do, and we want to work by referral. However, sometimes our referral business doesn't keep up with our ambition. And sometimes we look around at our sphere and we're like, hey, come on, like I want more referrals from you. And sometimes when they use somebody else, we can almost grow to resent them. We see everybody with a dollar sign on their forehead. If you've ever felt that way before, that you want to grow by referral, you want to work relational, but you don't want to have to depend upon the people that you love or have it change the way you see the relationship, then you're in the right spot. This presentation is going to change that for you to allow you to get business again from other professionals to your ideal clients. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Again, actually, let me say one more thing before we get started here. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer them as we go through this webinar. But if by chance we miss something, we'll be sure and reach out, and we have your contact info. So we'll be sure to get the answer to you, but do not hesitate to get your questions answered. We're excited to help you understand and really identify if what we're doing to help professionals is the right fit for you. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let me just share with you today's promises. Okay. The very first promise I want to make to you is that if you listen to this carefully, you're going to learn how to earn more money without working more hours, right? Your dollar per hour is going to go up. Isn't that what everybody wants? Isn't that why you got into this business, is to be able to really earn more and not have to work around the clock and give up the things and the people that you love the most to do that. The second one is we're going to teach you how to identify ideal clients before your competition even knows that they exist. In other words, gone are the days of competing for business. You will be a choice one of one. And we're excited to share that with you. And also, we promise this, that you will have your ideal clients willing to wait for you and pay for you. Okay. Now, what I mean by wait for you is you're probably tired and maybe despise the thought of having to pick up a call during an important family event or step out of an important something, life event, because you know that if you don't take that call, you're going to lose that lead to somebody else. Okay. Or you're having to give up your weekend, or you're having to compete on price and keep bringing your price down, 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 because you know that they have all kinds of other options. Okay. We're going to teach you how to get introductions to clients who won't do that because of the door through which they enter into your life. They're going to wait for you and pay for you. If that sounds like a good promise, let me know. Would love to hear that this is at least resonating with you so far. All right, let's keep going. Let me make a promise that if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a bonus that I'm genuinely so excited to share with you. It's something that I've spent countless hours putting together on your behalf, and I want to give it to you. And so stay with us to the end, and that bonus, which is really the foundational level of growing the kind of referral business you've always dreamed of, we're going to offer that to you. So quick introduction. My name is Justin Stoddart. I'm the CEO of Pro Insight. Maybe some of you know me because of the podcast that I've been doing for a long time now called Think Bigger Real Estate Podcast. Been so fortunate to be knee to knee with some of the industry's greatest producers, not just real estate industry, but other industries as well. I also authored the book, The Upstream Model, on which many of the principles that we're going to talk today are documented in that book. And now I get the good fortune of being the CEO again of a company called Pro Insight, which is a digital platform that supports this kind of activity, that gives you the ability, that makes this kind of business really easy. And of course, this is my favorite slide of all of them, which is my family. Yes, my wife and I are quite ambitious when it comes to children, and we're so grateful for that. I'll tell you this, these people right here were the reason, the genesis of why I'm standing here today, is that I wanted to not only have a great business that put food on the table, but I wanted to be at the table when that food was served. Sometimes we're forced to make the decision of like, okay, I'm going to put food on the table, but sorry guys, I can't be here. I've got to go to work. I didn't want that. I didn't want to get to the end of my kid's childhood and said, well, I think I missed it because I was working all the time to put food on the table. I'm here to tell you that what I uncovered and what I'm going to share with you today will allow you to have both a referral-based business that is consistent with your DNA, number one, and number two, it's going to be one that allows you to provide both income and time, which is what you're going to care about the most. Now, as we get started, I want to share with you a very important story, one that's going to be very impactful for you. I believe it has been for me. I want to tell you about a story about a man named Jim. And Jim was so excited to go on a Mediterranean cruise. He literally saved his whole life. He was a man that was not very wealthy. Going on a cruise was like his life's culminating event. And he'd saved the money and had now dedicated the time to go on this cruise. And so he packed everything that he thought that he would need to go on this cruise, filled up his suitcase, and then entered the cruise ship. He just giddy, like, here I am. And he got to his stateroom and he opened up his suitcase, and inside he found saltine crackers and cans of beans. Here he was, now ready to enjoy this entire week, having everything he needed to get him through the week. Now, you might be a little confused about the story so far. Allow me to finish. So every once in a while, Jim would look outside of his stateroom and he'd see people dressed very beautifully headed up to these fancy dinners. And he thought, oh, how would that be? But yet at the same time, he didn't want to be discontent about what he'd been given, which is this opportunity, or what he'd worked for, which is this opportunity to be on this beautiful cruise ship, touring the Mediterranean. So he would return, right, close the door, go back to his stateroom and enjoy the views out of his stateroom window. Okay, now on the last day, the bellman came to him and said, excuse me, sir, which of the final dinners will you be attending? And Jim was a little bit confused, a little bit embarrassed, like, I'm sorry, like I don't have the means to pay for anything else other than getting on a ship, so I won't be attending any of it. And the bellman was even more confused than Jim. He was like, wait, excuse me? The dinner's included. Yeah, in fact, all the dinners have been included, all the meals, all the entertainment, it's all been included. Like you don't have to say no to any of it. And you can imagine in that moment how Jim felt, right? Just absolutely mortified that he had been here so close to so many more incredible experiences, but he just missed it. He didn't realize who he was, that he was a passenger on a ship that had an all-inclusive offering. And so I'm here to tell you that as professionals, we have accepted an inferior identity, one of lesser influence. And I'm going to share with you not just how that's impacting you, but I'm also going to share how to improve upon it, how to accept a higher identity and begin to gain the influence that will give you the life and business that you want. So when I say this lesser influence creates something, it does. In fact, it enables what we call the wedge of traditional big tech. You see, big tech acts as a wedge between service professionals like you and your ideal clients. And the advances of big tech are only going to continue to diminish the value and influence of you, the professional. It will continue to shrink the influence that you have. The result is that you will work harder while getting paid less. Now, maybe that sounds familiar to you. If you're working so hard to keep the attention of your clients so they don't go to big tech instead of you, or so that you don't have to buy the leads back from big tech. Many of you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that is what happens when your influence is diminished. So let's talk about how we take this in the opposite direction, how we actually elevate, increase your influence. I'm going to take you down a journey of transformation from solicitor to director. On the very low end, solicitor is down here. Call that the stateroom, right? Where you're eating salty crackers. On the high end, a director is more the nicest dining tables on that. So we're going to walk you through that process of moving up that staircase up to the upper levels. But as we get started here, I want to involve you in an exercise, which is to calculate your dollar per hour. Now, this is very simple. You don't have to share this in the chat. This can be very personal. I know many of the industries, depending upon your particular industry, have maybe felt a bit of a squeeze, that maybe your income isn't what it has been in previous years. So what I want you to do is to take your annual income, and then I want you to divide that by 2,000 hours, which is 250 working days. Okay, times call it 8-hour days. This is just a very kind of general number. That's going to give you $1 per hour. Okay, I want you to hold on to that, and I want you to think about that because we're going to talk about how we help you to grow that. So let's begin at the very bottom of that ladder, like we discussed. The position of least influence that you can show up in someone's life is a solicitor. Now, a solicitor is somebody who solicits the unknown. They come to get something from people they don't know. And you and I both know how we treat solicitors when they show up. We feel like they're trying to sell us something. They're trying to get something from us. We're like the walls go up, and we're very defensive against that by nature. So what is the next step? Now, before I go there, let me just share with you what the conversion rate is for someone who's truly a solicitor. Now, these statistics come from the real estate industry, and you can apply this to many other industries as well. But let's say that a real estate agent was doing what's called circle prospect, where they have a listing in a particular neighborhood, and they're calling around that particular listing, trying to find other clients. Now, those clients, those other homeowners haven't asked for anything. They haven't raised their hand. You're just trying to go through the numbers to see if you can find an additional piece of business. That particular situation will garner you about one transaction per 1,000 contacts. Okay. So that percentage rate, that conversion rate is 0.1%. Now, you might not think that's very good, but again, for many people, it's consistent. Like if I make 100 calls every day, 5 days a week, in 2 weeks, I've got a deal. You and I both know that there's definite constraints on how much you can do. If you miss a day, right? And ultimately you can't go beyond that because you can't make too many more calls than that. So that's not a place of a lot of influence. Okay. And by the way, many times you're dealing with people who are upset that you're interrupting them, right? You didn't ask for permission. They don't know who you are. You're calling to get something. Not a great quality of life. So the next step up this ladder, as we're walking up the steps of the cruise ship up to these higher, fancier levels of living, is the vendor. Now, the distinction of a vendor is that they are soliciting the known. In other words, they're calling people that they know and asking for business. Now, I referenced this scenario previously where everybody that you know has a dollar sign on their head and you're trying to convert them into a customer. Not a very fun way to live either. I will say that the conversion rate is about 10 times better than previously. However, it's still not a great way to live. And there are definite limitations, right? Because you only know so many people and you can try to play mayor and get to know more people, but ultimately there are limitations. Now, this conversion rate again is better, as I mentioned. These two groups right here, both solicitor and vendor, are what we call go-getters. They go out and they get customers, and there's some like collateral damage both to you as well as the people who kind of were in your wake, not interested, and maybe upset that you'd interrupted them. Nevertheless, you get the job done and you get paid. But I'm here to invite you to take another step up this cruise ship staircase, this grand staircase, up to another level. And that next level is going to be what we call a connector. A connector is somebody who finds a lot of value in connecting you, the client, to other professionals. Okay, their value comes in being a liaison to value. The conversion rate there is 50 to 1. As opposed to 100 to 1 in the previous step, you're now getting twice as good because now you're not soliciting the known. You are calling to give to the known. You're giving value. You're asking, who do you need to know? Okay, that's a better place to come from. And again, you don't need to make as many contacts to actually get a client because people are open to the value that you're bringing. So the conversion rate is 2%, much better. Okay, but can we go higher? Let's just say, yes, we can. I'm going to walk you through that. The next level up is advisor. An advisor isn't just someone who's a liaison to value. In other words, they don't just connect you to other people who are valuable. They are valuable in and of themselves. In other words, they can have a one-on-one consultation about their particular industry and add significant value to their clients, where their clients say, we are not only going to use you, we're going to use you again, and we're going to tell other people about you. Okay. So that role as an advisor, you only need 25 contacts to get one client because you've offered so much value, right? Still is a bit of a numbers game, but it's in your favor more and more all the time, okay? So that's a 4% conversion, which is great. I think most people want to be at that spot where they're not having to spend all the time chasing. They can spend more time serving. That's a key distinction about this particular area. Okay, this group are givers. They're not go-getters, they're go-givers, and they get clients. Okay, now the difference between clients and customers, customers are a one-time transaction. Clients are people who come back and again, are willing to refer their friends, right? Which is perfect. So this group right here, not only are they paid, but they are well paid. That's a very important distinction, is that they are well paid. So as you move up this ladder, you have the ability to rise to another level. There's one more step up the staircase, which is director. Now, you may not have heard of this term in terms of the way you show up in the business world. Maybe you've heard of a board of directors or director of a large company. Like that's kind of an established title. Well, let me share with you what it means in our world. A director is somebody who is not just an advisor or just a connector. They're somebody who is connected deeply to other advisors in other industries. And as a result, they're able to bring those professionals to the table at the time that their client needs them in a very collaborative way. Let me give you an example. Just heard this story today, is that a particular client was unable to purchase a particular investment property. They didn't have the means to do so. The bank was not approving that. Like the lender was not approving them. So the real estate agent realized like, hey, it's because your consumer debt is a little bit high here. So we need to fix that. So that real estate agent brought in the CPA. Now keep in mind, the CPA had been working very diligently to keep the taxable income down, right? To keep taxes down. Whereas the lender is looking at that reduced income level and they're like, well, we can't do much with this. And so like the lender needed it to be higher. These two professionals, the tax professional and the lender, were working against each other without knowing it. They were just doing their job the best that they knew how. So the real estate agent was able to help the client to recognize that they had some money in an investment they could put down towards consumer debt in order to allow those ratios to be in their favor and for them to be able to get financed. Now, because this real estate agent was able to do this, the client was super grateful. They were able to take advantage of this particular opportunity without having to pass on it. Had everyone been working in their own individual silos, the deal wouldn't have been done. It wouldn't have happened. But because it was, many professionals benefited. So that's what I mean by a director, is that you are connected and are willing and able to work collaboratively with these other professionals. That's what sets you apart, is that people can now get much more than just a siloed industry professional. Now, because you're working in this way, a director is going to have more a conversion rate of 10 to 1. In other words, 10 conversations and you get one deal. That's called collaborative value. Now, the reason why this works so well is because not only did you bring other professionals to the table to serve your clients, but now these other professionals start to bring you to the table to serve their clients, which also becomes your ideal clients. So because that is happening, what ends up happening is your conversion rate not only goes up, but you're creating you're not just a go-getter or a go-giver, you are a leader. You're leading these other professionals. You're leading your clients in a whole new way. Okay. And as a result, you are creating not just people who are clients, but people who are ambassadors. They've never experienced a professional experience like that one, simply because you have to help a couple people to collaborate. This isn't crazy, right? But it is crazy uncommon. Okay. And that's something I really want you to realize. This isn't difficult in any way, shape, or form, but it is uncommon. It's very uncommon. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through how we do that. But first, let me make this point is that this is what scale looks like, because value is coming to you from a couple of different places in the sense that your clients are now talking about you, number one. And number two, these other professionals are working on your behalf. That's the definition of scale, is when things grow without. So that is this entire flow, this staircase up to the upper levels, is you becoming a director. Now let's go back and look at what you get paid showing up as each of these professionals when it comes to making a contact with a potential customer as a solicitor. Now let's say average real estate commission, we'll stick with that industry here for just a minute. So a $10,000 commission check, okay? And you had to make 1,000 contacts for that. That's $10 per contact. I mean, it's nice to know you'd rather have the $10,000 than not, but what does it look like to continue to walk up this ladder? Remember, a vendor was 100 contacts instead of 1,000. So now you went to $100 a contact. The next step up the staircase here, you only needed to make 50 contacts as a connector, where you're a liaison to value. That's $200 per contact. Getting better, as an advisor, you only need 25, which equates to $400 per contact, right? Way better. Now you're really getting paid like some of the other advisors at the table, a tax professional, commercial broker, you're getting paid similar to, a financial advisor, all these other professionals that are truly high paid professionals. You're one of them. Now, this last one is my favorite, of course, the director level, which is you make 10 contacts, get that $10,000 commission, $1,000 a contact. That's more like it. The invitation that I want to share with you here is this allows your dollar per hour to go way up. I want you to recalculate your dollar per hour and put now, instead of your actual income, I want you to put in your desired annual income. So put that number in, and then I want you to divide it by 2,000 hours. Same thing as we did before, but now it's your desired income. That will give you what your dollar per hour needs to be to get there. And my guess is you're probably saying, how do I get to director faster? How do I get out of being a solicitor or a vendor? How do I get to, even beyond connector and advisor? How do I get to director? Well, let's get into that. I want to share with you a book that I authored called The Upstream Model. The Upstream Model is a book that really, again, sprouted from this desire to, again, be funding my family and there to enjoy that with them. However, when I became a high-end home builder, I realized that it was a very competitive ocean. I was newer to the industry, so people had a lot more experience than I did. And I found myself on the outside looking in and using very common tactics, which gave me the only really way to compete was to do it faster and be on call all the time, or to lower my price. And I realized this is not going to allow me to be the provider nor the father and husband that I want to be. This isn't going to work for me. And then I uncovered something, that there were professionals in the marketplace who had all of my ideal clients. And I want to plant that seed in your mind, that there are professionals who are already working with your ideal clients. You don't have to go canvas the entire neighborhood or the entire community. You just have to find that professional. And that's exactly what I did. As a high-end home builder, I found architectural designers could feed me my ideal clients regularly, but I couldn't show up as a solicitor to them. I really had to show up adding significant value, even as a director to them, where we had collaborative value. Okay, so this model, what it allowed me to do is move from the typical model, which is it's a numbers game, more contacts. My guess is that if you're like me, you don't need more people to talk to. You need more people who are ready to transact with you. I want to emphasize that. That is what this produces, because this group out here, you're nurturing, hoping at some point it spits out some opportunity over here. And it will, but it takes a lot of time to do this. What we're saying is these professionals are already nurturing them for you. And at the time that they need you, the time that these people are ready to need a professional like you is when you're brought to the table. That is the difference, you guys. There is no long-term nurture. You're brought to the table at the moment that these people are ready to make a buying decision. That's the critical part here. And you're not nurturing this giant database to get a few referrals. You're nurturing a small database of key professionals that produce a large number of referrals. I hope you're catching on to this right now, because it can be life-changing for you. I know it has for me and many others. Now, let me walk you through a key to this that will really help you to show up in this way, is that there are life events, and at each one of these life events, there are people in your client base who need more than just you. And the same is true of these other professionals. They need more than just them. There's multiple professionals that are needed. Let me walk you through the typical person's life. They graduate from college, they get their first job, they fall in love and get married, they buy their first home, decide to have children, and they realize that home's too small, time to upgrade and move to the suburbs, whatever, right? This right here, I want you to think about each one of those life events. You could probably make a case that they would need you or need one of the professionals that we serve. Now, the reality is they don't need just one. Let's say, for example, buying a home. They'd be well served to have an insurance agent, of course, a lender, a real estate agent, potentially a financial advisor, potentially a tax professional. Like, there are other professionals that can surround and add value. Now, some more than others, depending upon what life event, but there are others who would be valuable at that time. Now, let's go through the next phases of life. They start saving for college for that particular child. Thankfully, they got a job promotion. Then, unfortunately, they got relocated, and that was not good on the marriage. Unfortunately, it ended in divorce. After that, there was some financial hardship as a result, which typically happens after, a divorce. So, and then thankfully, though, they got back on their feet, started building businesses, and thank heaven they put that marriage back together, got remarried, and a very happy story. And then they decided to start to simplify life. Let's sell the business, right? Let's downsize, simplify life, enjoy retirement, pass on some assets to some people or some causes that we care about before we pass on. Okay. Again, each and every one of these life events would be well served if multiple professionals were at the table. So if you were to look at this and say, okay, here's a particular life event. Okay, we're going to take an asset sale. Let's say it's an investment property. First and foremost, or maybe first, you're going to say, who are the professionals that are needed? Okay, you're a realtor. Okay, real estate agent, or commercial broker could be. And that particular professional may be followed by an exchange agent, right? Maybe a tax professional, attorney, lender. If you are one of these professionals along here, just know that you have the ability to bring extra value to your clients by bringing a professional like this to the table and collaborating with them. That serves the client at the highest level. Now, when you start to do this, these other professionals are likely to start to do the same with you. Let's take another example, inheritance, okay? We have an insurance agent, we have an estate attorney, a real estate agent, a tax professional, financial advisor. Again, these professionals are all going to be very helpful to this particular client. And again, you getting familiar and starting to think, who else will this client need, is going to create some very powerful relationships for you and an elevated client experience for your clients. We'll do one more here. Promotion. Somebody gets a job promotion. There's probably a headhunter involved, depending upon what kind of industry they're in. Insurance agent, realtor, lender, financial advisor. Again, stop thinking in silos of like, hey, I can help you here, but what else does this client need? And how do I serve them at that level? Every one of those life events that I shared on a previous screen, and others, by the way, that's not a comprehensive list. Each of these life events not require, but this situation would be well served to have multiple professionals working collaboratively with the client to give them the best overall outcome. Now, I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you a golden question that if you learn how to teach this question, if you learn how to use this question, and then learn how to teach it to the other professionals around you, it will turn into compounding ideal client introductions. It's a powerful statement. Compounding ideal client introduction to asset-based professionals. If you are an asset-based professional listening to this, the question is this: are you looking to buy or sell a property in the upcoming year? If you're thinking about taking a picture or snapshot, this would be a really good one to ask, because if you can train asset-based professionals, this question, like, there's so much opportunity. I'll give you an example. The average tax professional has 500 clients. When they're preparing taxes, the question they oftentimes ask is, have you bought or sold any property in the past year? Now, if you're a real estate agent, that isn't that helpful, right? If you're a lender, it's not that helpful. If you're an insurance agent, that's not that helpful, because that already happened. It's in the past. Okay, but if you can teach that that CPA to ask this question, are you looking to buy or sell a property in the upcoming year? Are you anticipating purchase or sale of a property in the upcoming year? Like, that question right there could be very valuable. Teaching that to a CPA, let's say average CPA has 500 clients. Let's say the average person moves every 10 years. In other words, 50 clients per year are going to be selling a home, and they'll probably be buying one after that, right? So between 50 to 100 transactions from one CPA, and they uncover that not by looking to the past of did you buy or sell, but looking to the future of are you anticipating, which, by the way, to the tax professional is very good, because they're no longer just a tax preparer, which is more easily replaced by big tech, but they become a tax advisor, which is well paid and oftentimes a better, more gratifying kind of work. So this is good for them as well. This is critical for you to teach the asset-based professionals around you to ask this question. My next question for trade-based professionals is, what has prompted you to do this work today? If you teach the trade-based professionals around you this question, it will change your life, because the average painter, 1 out of every 6 homes that they paint is because someone's getting ready to sell it. My guess is a good painting company paints at least 1 home a month, at least 6 homes a month. Okay. Which means that one opportunity every single month from one painter, pretty soon you start to identify that there are these professionals who are already in these conversations, which, by the way, for the painter to ask that question and say, do you have a real estate professional who you would rate as a 9 or a 10? Right? You simply teach them that little component right there. And if they're like, no, not really, they're fine. Would you like to be introduced to a 9 or 10? Because I know someone who's an absolute 9 or 10. And then insert in your name or whatever industry you're in. That all of of a sudden didn't cost you a thing, but simply by training this professional, it brought you somebody who's ready to move now. Again, back to the premise of like, this isn't giving you just clients you've got to nurture forever, right? With online leads or people kicking tires. That's not this. This is people who we're identifying at the moment that they're needing you. That's why you're being brought to the table. Beautiful, right? You're probably thinking to yourself, I got to train these people how to do this. Well, here's what I'm excited to share with you. You're probably like, it seems like it's going to take me a lot of time. And is it going to be hard to go train all these people this question so that I benefit from it? Like, well, let me share with you. There is easier way to do this. Okay. But let me begin by sharing this. Gaining influence enables something. Just like decreased influence allows big tech to step between you and your client, increased influence enables professional proximity. Okay. Now, what do I mean by professional proximity? Insight. We are the platform that brings service professionals like you closer to your ideal clients. We're not separating you from your clients. We're actually bringing you closer. Okay, you become more valuable and more influential in the lives of your clients. Additionally, the result is that you work smarter while getting paid more. That is our offering to you, is that you get to provide well for that dinner table as well as be there for that dinner table. You're probably asking, now, wait a minute, Pro Insight, tell me about that. What is that? I understand this is about Pro Insight, but tell me more. So again, Pro Insight is the digital platform where highly skilled, relationship-based professionals like you introduce each other to their ideal clients. That's the outcome. And not only do they introduce them at the time that you're needed, okay, which is beautiful. In other words, in counties and in communities, I should say, across the country, we're identifying professionals like I described, highly skilled, relationship-based, who have a relationship with a property owner. There's almost 20 industries that we've identified, 20 industries that are matched, that fit that requirement, that they're serving the property owner. And we're finding those professionals that are like that in every community, and we're putting them onto our platform. And here we are helping them to collaborate, helping them to create profile on our platform and to join weekly masterminds that allow us to educate them for you. So those two golden questions, you don't have to do it yourself. We do it for you. Okay. That's our value proposition. Part of it is that we do that training for you on your behalf. That's what a collaborative mastermind looks like. But we also enable what we call expert panel events. Now, an expert panel event, in fact, I'll just share with you an example of one. Stephanie Peck, one of our members out of Oregon City, Oregon, shared her story. And she collaborated with three other professionals. So there were 4 total. They did what we call an expert panel event where each of them invited their client base to come to a virtual meeting, an online meeting, where they talked about this particular topic, preparing for retirement in uncertain times. And these professionals were now presenting to not just their client base, but to the client bases of these other professionals. And what ended up happening was that these professionals were getting like referrals and introductions to their ideal clients. In fact, not just that, but their own client bases started to see them differently. Stephanie mentions how a very prominent real estate attorney that she'd never worked with saw the online promotion and reached out to her to say, hey, I see what you're doing with the financial advisor. That's really cool. I'd love to talk more about that. Now, they knew each other, but they'd never worked together. So now he saw her as a common real estate agent before, and now he saw her as an expert chosen in her community as being the expert on this particular topic, right, in her industry. Pretty cool. So she ended up getting 4 deals just from this, just from this experience, which is pretty cool. No, sorry, 3 deals from this experience. And then she's since received several more referrals from inside the platform. And so her overall compelling results are this, that in just 4 months of membership, again, 4 new transactions from her local network, and then 2 incoming relocation referrals. That's it. $5.1 million in volume in just 4 months. That's pretty killer. Additionally, she's placed 4 outgoing referrals, resulting in $10,000 of additional referral revenue. Pretty killer. Not a bad gig for just simply being a part of a simple platform. Now, you might be asking, how does this all tie in, right? Our aim at Pro Insight is to help you elevate your experience. You have a choice right now. If you continue to be diminished and have big tech have its way with you and continue to move you down into the stateroom eating saltine crackers and beans, or you can assume the proper identity at the most beautiful gallery on the ship and be who you're supposed to be, helping people in a way that they've never experienced before, right? That is our invitation, is to join that upper echelon of professionals who are doing business at the highest level with people who are willing to wait for them and pay for them and people who need them now. So you might be asking, well, what now? Like what are the next steps? Let me share with you the member investments. And we're like, okay, I hear about this Pro Insight platform. I kind of get it. What does it cost, right? Let me just share with you a couple of things. Number one, let's share the benefits of what you get. Number one, you get to claim your exclusive territory. Okay, so you'll be the only professional in your industry in one of our networks that allow you to really be one of one, right? As opposed to one of many, right? You'll be one of one. Secondly, you'll be editable and searchable on your profile, or your profile will be editable and searchable. There will be no relocation fees. There will be a weekly mastermind at no additional cost. Now, let me just hit on the no relocation fees again. Sometimes you'll have networks that will help connect you to other professionals, but they take a piece of it. They want to charge you more for that. We don't. In fact, we have a service, a concierge service, where a physical human on our team here domestically will reach out and find somebody for you and bring it back to you. It's just part of the perk of being a member, right? We don't charge extra for that, nor do we for our weekly masterminds. And then we offer a referral guarantee that if you don't get a referral by being a part of Pro Insight, then in your first year, then your second year is free. So maybe asking, well, what does it cost? My goodness, the cost is, we're super proud of the cost of the price of the investment, which is $299 as an annual membership for these benefits that you see here. Now, I promised you a bonus, and I'm not going to forget about that, okay? I want to tell you that, again, I authored the book called The Upstream Model, which was a labor of love, helping people to see that there was a path to scale a referral-based business. And so I also did an audiobook on that, and I also created a very deep dive mastery course. And so as a bonus for joining Pro Insight today, right now, you are going to get these 3 bonuses. And I promise you, I will not be able to offer all 3 of these for long because of our growth. Number 1, you're gonna get a signed copy of the Upstream Model. Number 2, you're gonna get the audiobook, full audiobook, so you can listen to it again and again. These are the foundational principles for building a referral-based business that scales through the introductions of other professionals, okay? And third, you're gonna get the Upstream Model Mastery class. Now, I used to charge for this pack right here, $1,200 just to get access to that. I paid $1,200. So I would charge $1,200. But if you join Pro Insight, you will get this all included at no additional cost. And again, that was the bonus I was super excited to share with you. Again, I have poured hours and hours and hours. I can't tell you how many hours. I have no idea. This bonus package right here literally took me years to put together. And really the study of 2 decades of identifying these principles that were easy for you to implement, that creates the foundation for you to really thrive in this style of relationship-based scalable business. And I've got one more thing I want to share with you, is you might be thinking, okay, I'm joining Pro Insight, which is the digital platform to connect me with other professionals. Is that it? No, we're actually a relationship-based company. So we're actually going to have one of our teammates who's going to reach out to you and be sure that you have a great experience, that we're going to help you to optimize your profile, and we're going to help you to get the most out of your Pro Insight membership. You will have somebody to contact directly who will be sure that you're maximizing the value that you can possibly get from the Pro Insight platform. Again, we love what we're building. We're passionate about it. We feel like more than ever right now, professionals need this help. They want to grow, they want to scale, but they don't know how to do it without using the traditional ways that have left them short. And so my invitation to you is join us. You'll see a link down below this where you can join. You can also scan, if you're watching this on your computer, feel free to scan this. It will take you to the same page where you'll be able to apply for membership. Again, if accepted onto the network, you'll get all the bonuses that we talked about. I would hurry. This is a little bit of a land grab, is that once your territory inside the network is gone, it's gone, and we can't offer it to you again. So please do hurry. And please, if this is the right fit, do not delay. We would love to serve you. We would love to partner with you and help you build these powerful alliances with other professionals who can serve up your ideal client exactly the time these clients need you. So thank you again for listening. It'd be my pleasure to get to know you and welcome you onto our network. And again, thanks for listening. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.